Hey guys, it's GamingEsquire back with basically part 2 of that super pickup I got at the guy's house from Craigslist, as well as one other game I picked up this week. This stuff probably doesn't look quite as outstanding as the stuff I got the first run through of his place, but there's something in there that was really rare. It's kind of a I think there are 4 other known copies of this in the of this variant, and I have the 5th one that's been identified, so it's pretty awesome. First thing I got that was not in that lot of stuff, I went to a pawn shop this week and I got Pikmin, the new controls for the Wii. It's complete. It's in excellent shape. It was $5. It's like a $30 game right now, so that was definitely a good find, especially at a pawn shop for that price. Everything else they had in there was priced outrageously. They had a Mario Kart 64 for $50, which is absurd. But anyway, I went over to the guy's house the second time, about 2 hours after I shot my video for the first one, and made one more run through everything. And I actually looked through his PlayStation 1 and 2 stuff, as well as a couple of GameCube things as well. So, I also made a second run through of the vintage stuff, the retro stuff, the NES and N60 or SNES and Genesis stuff. So, I got a big stack of stuff. Again, I think there were 32 games plus a couple of other odds and ends, and that was all $50 again. It was, I mean, you're never going to find a deal like this, especially where there was this much stuff that you could just go back again and find more. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. But I was over there, and the first time I was in there, I saw a Super Scope. I was, I wasn't terribly interested in it, but the second time over there, I was just looking through, and I knew I didn't have one, so I thought, why not? Let's give it a shot. And it's complete. It comes with the little adapter thing as well, so it's cool to have that. I didn't have one before, and I think they're normally 20 or 30 bucks. This one's in really good shape, so I was happy to get that. And a couple of non-gaming items, or non-video game items, he threw in for me were this Chivalry and Sorcery's Creatures Bestiaries guide. It's for a tabletop RPG. I don't know much about this, but he said, you got to try this. This is a really cool game. And it's probably a $10 or $15 book on eBay at least, so if I decide I don't want it, I could probably, make a little money on it. And he also threw in this complete Shatter Zone tabletop RPG set. This has everything. It kind of looks like a Shadowrun type steampunk, cyberpunk, I guess what I mean to say. Tabletop RPG. I've not really looked at it that closely, but everything's in there. It's got the screen, it's got the universe guide, player's guide, rule book, all the value charts. I mean, this thing is in great shape too. So, I mean, I may give that a shot, and it's probably, I don't know, 30 to 50 bucks online. I haven't actually looked, but normally those type of sets are at least that much. And then I picked up some strategy guides while I was there as well. Castlevania Lament of Innocence. This one I was really excited to get. The official Symphony of the Night strategy guide. This thing's in great shape too. Such a good game. It's kind of the origin of the Metroid-style Castlevania game. The Champions of Narath, which is kind of a Diablo clone. It's based in the Forgotten Realms universe, maybe? I can't remember. I don't know. And then Champions Return to Arms, which is the sequel. So those are all 4 guides, and all these guides are like between 10 and 15 bucks at least online. So, I mean, those guides were essentially the value of them is the value of what I paid for everything. So everything else is essentially free. Now let's take a look. First, I went back to the NES carts and grabbed a few things that I didn't have. Nothing too crazy. Akari Warriors, the actual Just Duck Hunt game. I can't believe I didn't have this, but I didn't. And then Chess Master. It's got a little rattle to it, but I'm sure it's fine. Nothing too outstanding there. Then I went to his Super Nintendo stuff I didn't grab the first time. I got Populous. Came with the manual, like pretty much everything else on the Super Nintendo did. That's cool. That's probably, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks. And then I grabbed Wolf Child on the Super Nintendo. Of course, it also has the manual and the game. That's probably 15, 20 bucks, something like that as well. And then picked up one that may not seem that exciting, but it's one that I didn't have, and it's kind of hard to find some of these obscure golf games on the Genesis, and that's PGA Tour 96. I always see PGA Tour 2, and then there's another PGA Tour game I always see that I can't remember what it is, but I've never actually seen this one. So that was cool to get it for nothing, essentially. And then here's a couple PS2 games and a couple GameCube games I grabbed. First, and the one that's worth the most money, I've actually gotten like 4 to 5 copies of this throughout my collecting lifetime, and I can usually trade them or turn them around into something decent. And that's the collector's edition of Zelda. It's complete. It's got the manual in there. It's in really good shape. This thing is selling for like 60 bucks now. I don't know why. They're actually really common. Like I said, I've gotten 4 or 5 of them for cheap. I've always been able to turn them into something I needed. That's cool. Resident Evil. It's a black label copy. It's also complete. Or some sort of, I don't know. It's complete. So that's cool. Then I got Champions Return to Arms. As you saw, I got the strategy guide for that. Now I've got the game. It's in great shape. I'm actually going to try these out. And the other one I got was Champions of Narath. It's also complete. These are both between $20 and $30 games, so they're obviously a good bargain for what I paid. And then while I was over there, I was digging through some boxes, and I found the Darius Twin box, for the game that I'd already bought. So that was cool to be able to complete that. It's got the cardboard insert, and it actually has a "Be Kind, Please Rewind" sticker in there. He must have bought these from a rental store that was either liquidating their stock or was just selling ones that they had too many of or something, because that sticker is kind of iconic for rental stores. I remember they used to always have them in all the VHS boxes at the store in my hometown when I was growing up. Rewinding VHS cassettes was so annoying. Then also got a complete box copy of Chuck Rock on the Super Nintendo. That's probably about 30 bucks complete. It's in really good shape, like pretty much all the other boxes were as well. That's pretty awesome to snag. And then I had this game, but I didn't have the manual or the box, so I figured why not, and that's Rival Turf. It's a beat 'em up. It's not a very good one. It's got that iconic 90s crappy box art on it where there's 2 tough guy wannabe high school kids are on the cover. And I got a bunch of paper stuff. Some Super Nintendo posters, Metroid poster, Super Advantage instructions, a couple of Capcom inserts, the manual to Goonies 2 without the cover, a manual for Life Force on the NES, a manual for Xenophobe, a manual for Star Voyager, and Metal Gear manual, and the map/hint sheet thing for Metal Gear. Then I got a big stack of PS1 stuff. First I got Criticom. It's just the disc. Apparently it's really bad. It's some kind of 2D fighter. Star Gladiator. I think it's also a fighter. It's a Capcom game. I think it's like 10 bucks. Fear Effect, which is also 10 bucks. It's kind of a survival horror action adventure game, I think. Dungeons and Dragons Iron and Blood. I think this is like 5 to 7 bucks. It's either I think it's kind of a 3D fighting game as well. Kind of like some of the other ones I showed. When I first got it, I thought it was a action adventure hack and slash type game, but I don't think it is. Also got Urban Chaos, which is kind of a shooter. It's a third person running around 3D shooter. And then Expendable, which is a run and gun type game. Most of these are things I picked up because I'd never heard of them before, and most of them are between $5 and $15. This was a good one I was really excited to get, and that's Diablo on the PlayStation. Obviously, everyone knows about Diablo at this point. I've played a lot of Diablo 2 on the PC. Played Diablo 1 a very little amount. It came out a little bit before I was really into PC gaming, and I never played it on the PS1. So that's pretty cool to pick that up. Obviously, Diablo 2 has kind of defined the hack and slash RPG genre. Got Fighting Force. It's missing the manual, but that's like $5. And Fighting Force 2, this one's complete. That's $5 or $10 as well. This is one I was really excited to get, and you already saw the strategy guide for, and that's Castlevania Symphony of the Night. This game's going for like $40 or $50 now, and to have the Black Label version is even better. Obviously, he bought it at Cash America Pawn at some point for $18. That's an older logo for them. I wonder when he got this. He's probably had it for a while. These are dirty. These need to be cleaned. This guy's had a lot of dust and just a lot of clutter in his apartment, so it kind of got on things. Got Strikers 1945, which I was surprised was like a $20 game. It's a vertical shooter. I didn't realize that. I thought it was more of a dogfight type game, you know, like an Ace Combat or something, but I think it's a vertical shooter. And then I got Future Cop LAPD. It's just the game. It's not the original case. It doesn't have the manual, but I think it's a mech shooter. This is another one I was glad to get, and kind of goes with the Contra theme for all the other games I got from them. And that's Contra Legacy of War. It's complete. It's in good shape. The Contra PlayStation games aren't really all that great generally, but I think it's like a $10 game, and I like Contra. I like running gun type games, so it's pretty cool. This is just the disc for Raiden Project. This is like a $20 game with just the disc. It's like $30 complete, so that was a good one to snag. Also got Iron Man XO Man of War in heavy metal. It's not the original case, but it's got the manual. It's like $5 or $10. Project Horned Owl, which I think is another. It's like a sort of like a light gun shooter, I think, but not 100% sure on that. Darkstalkers 3. It's a fighting game. Everybody knows about the Darkstalkers series at this point. It's kind of a horror-themed one-on-one fighter. This one's like $25, $30, so that was a good snag from there. Assault Retribution. It's a run and gun. Looks pretty cool, actually. Maybe by Midway. I'm probably going to try this one out. Some of these I'll probably never play, but definitely going to give that one a go. This is one I was excited to get, and that's Jade Cocoon. It's like $20. It's complete. He had Jade Cocoon 2 at the time, but I thought I already had it. I was wrong, so I missed out on that one, but that's okay. I think that's everything other than one very, very special item that I didn't know was that special when I picked it up. I grabbed it for the manual and the map that I already showed, and then I get home and I'm reading on Nintendo Age, and I find out about these factory mismatch variants, which is essentially where on the NES there are certain cards by Ultra and Konami that have an oval seal and 5 screws, which is something that shouldn't have happened with the general packaging just based on the timeline. And I was reading through the list of those that have been found and identified, and this one was on the list. And then I thought, wait, that kind of looks like what I had. So I went home and checked and realized that I had a factory mismatch variant of this game, and identified it on Nintendo Age, and it turns out that mine is the 5th known copy in this variant. So as far as Nintendo collectors know, there are 5 of these out there, and I have one of them. And that's Metal Gear. It's a 5-screw, as you can see, with an oval seal. The top label's peeling a little bit.